Welcome back to more Fatal Frame 5 and the official debut of my new microphone. This just talks about the events from the previous chapter. It also mentions that Miyu is still desperately trying to find her mother, which makes sense, and she thinks she can find her if she goes back to the mountain, which was her goal in the first place. But she found Yuri instead. And I assume I was trying to get a pose for an end of the video shot. I know I do that with Yuri in the next chapter. Pretty sure that's what I was doing there. Damn it, game. I already know what I need to do. And that little blurb also talks about how Miyu needs Yuri's camera, which I'm sure she will be very happy to loan her, considering she used it to save Yuri. And unfortunately, one of these videos already has a copyright claim on it. As long as the video stays public... My God, Yuri, what happened? You look so different. Still attractive, just attractive in a different way. Anyways, let's go ahead and read some documents. Eventually. And get the camera obscura. And it looks like these are just more files on Miku. Read them if you want. I didn't peruse these before this video, so I can't really summarize them.
Using the camera obscura makes me feel closer to the other side. My family had one too, but all that's left of it now is the case. Is that why my mother was spirited away? Because she used a camera obscura?
Well, I think that might be what happened to Miyu. Not this Miyu, but the Miyu from Fatal Frame 2. In Fatal Frame 3. I'm not 100% on that. But I think that's what happened to her. Totally different thing, though. That was the game that these writers forgot about, where Miku decided to move on and get over her brother's death. Now, I know some could argue that somebody can say that they're going to move on and then they don't actually do it. I get that, but from a story perspective, yeah, I really don't like what they did to her character. It's unfortunate, but what are you going to do? I don't plan on talking about that too much more because I think I've made my feelings on the treatment of Miku in this game quite clear. More documents for your reading pleasure. I'm sure this is more lore. These games have a lot of documents, but I think this one has the most of any of these games. I think that's actually an achievement, picking up all of the files. I think you actually get something for doing that. I know I've missed several, so that's not going to happen. And I don't really care either. I will be clear, though. I know I've complained a lot about this game, especially in the last couple chapters, but let's be honest, the story kind of warrants it. But I don't really hate this game. It's kind of meh. You won't hear me complaining about this game for years like I did Resident Evil 6 or God of War 4. I am glad that we got a fifth game, and I hope if there's a sixth, that game will improve. Anyways, we've done all we need to do in here right now. It's time to head to the mountain. It is funny, though. This is an antique shop. Doesn't really look like it, except for that opening area. Seems like it's more of a hotel. I would be interested to know how many of those ghosts I actually pick up. pick up, take pictures of. You know what I mean. Anyways, we get to make this trek again. I'm just trying to find the opening in this gate so that for once I'm not walking into a wall, essentially, or walking into a closed gate. Yeah, no one cares. We're out of here. Pretty much from the last video through the second to last video in this LP, I was trying to finish the rest of this game in one go. On Monday, it's Saturday now. And I'm looking for the Type 0 film that's over here. Unfortunately, there was one more chapter than I thought there was. And it's quite a long chapter, so that didn't end up happening. But I finished it the next day, so it's fine. And from your perspective, I'll have moved on to something else by the time this posts. But the game itself isn't really that bad. I might be just saying that based off of certain steps I took to make sure that this game was a little easier on me. But still, it's not awful. There are issues I have with it. It's a lot easier to see whenever you're running and the camera zooms out a little bit. The character's still in kind of an awkward point in the screen, but it's a lot more doable. Oh, great, another ghost. But I hate it when the camera is right on your shoulder. Damn you, ghost. I don't know if I could have run from this thing, but since I have trouble navigating this area, I didn't want to take the chance. I could just see me running into a wall and then getting hit by the ghost, and then that would make more editing on my part, and I didn't want to do it. Yeah, Miyu has this slowdown ability. I'm sure there's a way to use it to great effect. Yeah, that's not an opportunity for a fatal glance. Move away. Move away. Damn it. Move away. Thank you. And that's a weird aspect of these ghosts, the little lanterns that you can shoot. Damn it, Miyu is not that kind of girl. She doesn't like having ghosts inside her. She's not her mother. Get out of here. Damn. I said get out of here. And then he responds, but I have nowhere else to go. Not Miyu's problem. She got things to do. She can't be sitting around trying to entertain yo ghost ass. She's got things to do. People to find. But if they do make another one of these games and follow this behind the back camera style, which I'm sure they would do unless they went first person, which I would not play it if that's what they did. I hope they zoom the camera out more. Something like this is just terrible for me because the character is in part of the screen that I'm looking at. I can't see the entire screen at one time, so it makes it really hard when Miyu is taking up the whole screen. And yes, I said it that way on purpose. Innuendo that I ruined by pointing out that's innuendo. But in all seriousness, when a character is taking up that much of the screen, I thought she was going to say something there. It makes things really difficult to deal with, especially for me. I try to look in the center of the screen as much as possible. On a positive note, I navigate this area a lot better than I had in previous videos. So that's nice. Of course, the where do I go button is actually working. That thing I noticed was pretty inconsistent. Ah, damn it. Oh well. Not a big deal. I would be interested to know how many of these ghosts I actually got. I know I missed a ton. But that is something I hope they fix if they make another one of these games, and I really hope they do. They're enjoyable for what they are. And I really hope, instead of one game at a time, with the first 3, they do a remaster bundle and just release all 3 at once. I'm guessing they would have to remaster them, otherwise people would complain. I would actually be okay if they just made a collection of those first 3 and ported them to everything. But people would complain that it's not widescreen and that it's not remastered. And a remaster would be nice. They would probably go with the Xbox versions of 1 and 2, which had better graphics. Although from what I understand, there was a little something lost in those versions. A little bit of grit in the original PS2 versions that wasn't there. Like those games looked a little bit cleaner than they should. I was trying to avoid ghost hands just in case. That is a lens that I'm never going to use. But I picked it up anyways in case I do a New Game Plus at some point and want to use it. Which will not happen. So you can see where we are now. I really want to play a game that takes place somewhere other than Japan or the US. I'd like to go through buildings and have a different architecture type. For me, this Japanese architecture gets a little old. Because this is my 4th Fatal Frame to play. I've played a number of Tenchu games, which admittedly those don't all take place indoors, but the indoor settings look basically like this, but worse or less detailed. And I'm just trying to figure out which direction to go in. And some of the Onimusha games had areas that looked like this. It is nice to be in an area that we haven't spent a ton of time in. Regardless of all my complaints about this game, it's a little less repetitive than I thought it was going to be. It's still repetitive, but not nearly as bad. Yeah. It's all about the box. What's in the box? Pretty sure I already called a video in this series that, so I can't do that again. And this is the first indication that some of these events are happening at the same time. There's Rin in his snazzy outfit. And this fight is going to be edited. I think this is the same ghost that me and Master G were complaining about last video. Get out my face. Don't like you. So for all my complaints about this game, it is actually better than I expected it to be. So that's something. But I do hope they release a remaster of those first 3 games. That would be really good. I would love just for other people to have the opportunity to play them. I still have my physical copies of those games, plus ROMs of all three. Although I hear there's some issues with the first game's ROM. I don't know if it's everyone or just the most common of ROMs. But hopefully my LP is good enough that I never have to play that game again. And that was the wrong door. I don't typically like looking back at my own stuff because usually when I look back at a video, all I can think is, oh God, I need to redo this. And I've been redoing a lot of LPs over the last couple of years. Granted, that's been necessary because my original capture card, oh, that was rough. Any LP recorded with that capture card needs a redo. Which means replaying Resident Evil 5 and Leon's campaign of 6 at some point. God help me. But it would be nice to see a different architecture type. I don't even know what. I would kind of like to see something, even if it's in the US, maybe in colonial times, back in like the 1700s or maybe even early 1800s. I would like to play a good Western, actually. Ideally, given my channel, a Western horror would be pretty cool, but even just a good Western. Unfortunately, the Red Dead games are the only ones I know about. And I'm not really into sandbox open world type of games. Although at some point I do have to do Red Dead 2 because the games librarian bought that for me. So I should probably do that at some point. Although there are games that have been purchased for me that I will not be doing ever. That I get the feeling those particular friends were trolling me. I could be wrong. I'm not going to say I haven't done that before to some people. Somebody on Steam bought me an 8-bit porno game. Well, there's actually a game to it, but it has tits and whatnot, from what I understand. That's all from looking up the game. I haven't actually played it. So we need to look at something in here, and I'm trying to find it. There it is. I thought she said more there, and I wish they did have her say a few things just to give us an idea of what's going on. Unless she's under some kind of spell, that is pretty damn selfish to be so focused on grief over her brother who's been gone now nearly 20 years. To not take care of your own daughter, which you essentially created through some sort of ghost ceremony. Damn it, Miku, take some responsibility. Our gal Miyu here is the product of a ghost marriage, with her father being her dead brother. And apparently my thoughts on this are not uncommon. Apparently a lot of people have the same feelings I do about that, which is why I don't want to complain too much about it, even though I'm sure I already have. So somehow doing all that unlocks this door. I don't know how that works. I was expecting to have to take a picture of something else, but I'm glad I didn't. Not counting the ghost, obviously. Open sesame. I'm not sure if you have to go in here in order to end the chapter. These games are weird sometimes with the things you have to do. But I came in here, so we're gonna check it out. There is unfortunately a fight in here. I just told one of your friends. Miu does not like having ghosts inside her. I'm not sure what she's into, but I'm pretty sure it's not ghosts. I try to run from ghosts as much as I can at this point. I was starting to talk about this earlier. At this point, I was trying to power through the rest of the game. No, Miu's soul is for Miu alone. Her heart, on the other hand, well, I'm sure she'll fall in love at some point. Although she is kind of damaged, I'm sure. Her mother's obsessed with her dead brother. Her dad is her mother's brother and has been dead since before she was born or even conceived. It's a whole big mess. I would imagine that would mess with anybody, to be fair. Unfortunately, not every ghost you can run from. So some of my attempts to run from ghosts are going to cause some issues, but I do try to run from the ones I can just to save time. I don't think we explored this room yet. I think once we came in here as Ren, we got a cutscene.
They have taken part in a ghost marriage. You should rejoice, young lady. You should fear nothing, child. For you, as a Shadowborn, you too must fulfill your duty and become a sacred pillar.
Damn it, evil ghost lady. It's not Shadowborn, it's incest ghost baby. Get it right. If you can't call things by their proper name, don't call them anything at all. I could make some social commentary about that and the ridiculousness of modern culture, but I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to try to take down this ghost. Who I believe causes me some issue. I wish I'd seen that projectile. You can't stop them by shooting them, which is always nice. I'm not in love with ghosts being able to shoot projectiles. I love this. The sounds went away for a sec. You think, oh, okay, we're done. Nope. Ghost is still here. Just a bit of wonkiness from this game. I would expect nothing else. Can't you take the hint? No means no. Get out of here. Miu just wants her mother. Aha! Your attack was your undoing. You're the one getting all cattywampus. Things didn't have to go down that way. And I assume this is another file about the ghost we just fought after the fact, which causes me to not care. It reminds me of a game that Ty LP'd. I think it was Deep Fear, where this character dies and then you read all this info about the character in a diary, which would have been nice to know before the character died so that maybe the player could have cared about her a little bit.
Have much time left. If only I could go back to then. If things could just be as they were. That is my last wish. Mother. Mew. Forgive me.
No. No. I won't let you do it. Come back with me.
Mew. It's too late for me.
Come on! Let's go! Together! Come home with me, please!
Yeah, stop being disobedient. I almost called her something, but I do like Miyu. Apparently that's a variation of her original design. I don't know if they redesigned her for the Western version of the first game and subsequently the third game. She looks pretty good for her age. She's got to be in her late 30s. But then again, it is Japan. You can have 30-year-old women who look like they're 12. So I guess that's not really too ridiculous. All I wanted to do was leave. That's all I wanted to do. But no. I can't get what I want. I must do everything you want to do. Cunt. Although to be fair, at least this ghost is sticking around this one area so I can just keep hitting her. And I think the other one might have gotten in that shot too, which is good. I didn't trust it. I already got your fatal glance, so I don't care. Get out of here. That is so weird to have two of the same person. Or ghost in this case. Though again, I assume these are supposed to be different shrine maidens or guardians, whatever the hell they are. Ballerinas. Either way, we are moving on. In this next room is a fight. I cut it just to save time. And because I got a bit turned around in here after the fight, this room all looks the same to me. Yeah, if I did have to play another game that takes place in the US, something that took place during the 1700s would be pretty sweet. I imagine the buildings during that time would look a lot different. I'd love to play a game that takes place in England, especially centuries ago, maybe medieval times. Something with a dark atmosphere, but maybe a little less horror. It's a shame about the game Vampire. I was really hoping that would be a good game. Ah, well, no use complaining about it now. Time to move on, Miku. Moving on is good. I will agree with somebody I saw do a let's play of this game. I don't like what they did to Miku, but that scene is kind of adorable. This is just summarizing the events of the chapter. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see y'all next time with